update us on key trends for data analytic leaders, we now call on stage Mr. Armughan Ahmed Kausar, Chief Compliance Officer, HBL Experience. Mr. Armughan has vast experience in the banking industry and consults on corporate governance, internal audit, compliance risk management, strategic transformations, and financial crime in Pakistan, UK, and Middle East. We welcome Mr. Armughan Kausar.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Will I have the presentation? So, assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm glad to be here. And I was listening to all the sessions and Abrar Saab's and DG Seema session. And a lot of good stuff has been said today. And I was very impressed that we know exactly what the problems are. But before I start the discussion I was having with Khurshid earlier before as part of this prep, I said, the question is to be or not to be. This is a famous quote from Hamlet. जब existence की बात हो रही थी कि जिया जाए या जान ले ली जाए, खत्म हो जाए. So I think we have already passed that moment as a profession. And here I'm addressing my CA fraternity. I think in today's session also we saw a lot of business stuff, good stuff, but I think we have to move away from that finance mentality. The business of the future is not about finance, it's not about internal audit, whilst I represent internal audit and compliance. But I think we have to enhance our thinking in a very, very significant way. So with that, I think my focus would be just to kind of make sure that I give you my perspective. Where are we in terms of our history? Where are we in terms of what's happening around us? So सबसे पहले तो ये है कि आज जो भी वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन नज़र आ रही है, आपको दुनिया की टॉप 10 कंपनीज आपको पता है टेक की हैं. पाकिस्तान में जो इन्वेस्टमेंट्स आ रही है, फिनटेक्स में आ रही है, एग्री टेक्स में आ रही है, रेक टेक्स में आ रही है. Representing the banking industry here, I think we would be extinct if we don't reassess ourselves in a fundamental way. आप लोग, being the FMCGs, being the Angros, being the big four firms, I think in Pakistan we have to do a lot of things differently. A lot of things which we are just scratching the surface right now. And banking, most of it, in coming years, I've just had some slides and those have already been, I would say, talked about. One thing which I like to pick up on Amazon, just one fact, is they changed their prices 2.5 million during a day's time. This is how they unlearn the data. The exabyte is a set of data, just to give you some context. ये आपको यहाँ से चांद के करीब तक लेके जाता है. इतना data है जो वो सिर्फ use करते हैं to understand what customers want, prediction, sending goods beforehand. ये वो सब चीज़ें हैं जो आजकल के मिलेनियल्स और एक्स को एक्साइट करती हैं. So our banks of bricks and mortar, our operating models if they have already not changed in COVID, which was talked about by Abrar Saab and others, they would change in the coming years. And if we don't do much, will be history. And we will be part of that history because the problem is not the AI, the problem is not the machines, the problem is not the programs. As it was discussed very clearly, the program is the mindset which we have got here. I come here as a practitioner. As I also come here about, being a recipient of lots of the guidance which we get from State Bank of Pakistan. And the way we see things are shaping up in this country, there is a lot to be done. And for me, sitting in the largest bank in Pakistan, the biggest problem is we talked about skill set, right? We aren't getting the people which we are looking for, right? And even as an institute, we are happy to invest as long as you can convince people to change. The biggest problem is the conviction in people's mind, and it's not saying that it's their problem. I think it's our problem. It's a problem which we have to solve. So when in terms of the timeline, so I've been with the profession for a ballpark 25 years. Most of my time I've served financial industry, be it either side of the table, as in the Big Four, advisories, did a lot of bits, even sold RBAs in the world. And now I'm here. In Pakistan, financial inclusion, credit availability of the total population 3 से 4% है. The newer mode, we don't want to lend to people who don't have collaterals. The decision-making part, the use analysis paralysis part. We talked about garbage in, garbage out. We should also talk about lack of decision-making. Once we have the data, and we have seen it at the national level, we have seen it in lots of places when we talked about our imbalances at a national level, and the great work which Selani Trust is doing. We know the data, we know what is required, and we shy away. I think this is criminal. As institutions, as banks, where we also know what decisions could be taken, the biggest criminality is when we shy away from taking those decisions, right? So I think the time is now, with our financial inclusion targets and our bank's journey. I'll give you some context and why I believe this whole process of mentorship is so very important, because it's the change in the mindset. It's not the technology piece which we continuously think about. This is an interesting slide. So if you remember, and if you are a movie buff और आपने Lords of the Rings देखी होगी, तो उसमें character होता है if I'm pronouncing it right, Gandalf, right? ये वो बाबा जी हैं जो हर कुछ देर बाद मूवी में आते हैं, हॉबिट्स को गाइड करते हैं, फिर गायब हो जाते हैं, और आइडियलिस्ट भी हैं, रियलिस्ट भी हैं, और सुपर नेचुरल भी हैं, बार बार जिंदा होके आ जाते हैं. What is this term? इसका बैकग्राउंड ये है कि I came to Pakistan in 2018, and our president Mohammad Aurangzeb also joined the bank at the time. He said, we are a tech company with a banking license, right? And we said, okay, it's fine. And what does it mean, right? What does it mean for us people? We are the senior most people in the bank, right? हम 20-25 लोग हैं जिनके among ourselves 100 of years of experience. And honestly, we started struggling. We started struggling to identify how to go about making this hybrid bank. I call it hybrid because there was a term used as legacy, and then there's a modern banks. So we are somewhere in the middle. Probably need to do much better on the customer service, but having acknowledged that, we struggled with that. We spoke with a couple of banks in the world. We spoke with the best bank in the world, which is known as DBS, right? So in the last 5 साल वो बैंक मुसलसल बेस्ट बैंक भी रहता है यूरो मनी के हिसाब से, और बेस्ट डिजिटल बैंक भी रहता है. ये वो टर्म थी जो उन्होंने यूज की. आप इसमें डी को छोड़ दें. इट्स गूगल, Amazon, Netflix, Apple, LinkedIn, Facebook. D is them. D is the DBS. D is the digital part. D is the data part. This is what they used to start inspiring people internally. और ये क्यों इम्पोर्टेंट था? क्योंकि विजन फ्रॉम द टॉप देना बहुत जरूरी था कि ये सारी चीजें, दिस इज द डायरेक्शन विच विल गो. वी स्टार्टेड डिस्कसिंग, एंड देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ डिस्कशन, प्रॉब्ली विच इट विल नीड अ सेपरेट सेशन, कि वो क्या डिस्कशन. उन्होंने हमें मोटा मोटी चीजें ये बताई कि आप अपना विजन बनाते हैं, उसके बाद अगर आपके पास 30 से 40% लोग आपके डिपार्टमेंट्स में, आपके फंक्शंस में उस डेटा इनेबल्ड नहीं है, डेटा यूज नहीं कर रहे, तो आपकी कहानी रह जाएगी. You will not be able to deliver. You need to define the end goals. And we, in the panel here, it was a great panel, honestly. I was very impressed. And the discussion which happened by Abrar Saab as well as DG Seema. We talked about a lot of things where we talked about matrices, about sales, about penetration, about farmers. In सब का एक लुबे लबाब था. Customer. The customer is the king. हमारे पास, हमारे बैंकों में जो आज के लोग आते हैं, मुझसे 7 फॉर्म्स फिल करवाते हैं, पीली कलर की, लाल कलर की, इस लाइन में चले जाओ, ये रिक्वायरमेंट है, ये वो रिक्वायरमेंट है. Now that is not the current state. That is not the current state. The millennials in a mature market, they don't want to go to banks. They rather go to the dentist, जिसमें उनके दांत की एक्सट्रैक्शन भी है और उस रोज दर्द भी बहुत होगी. or and most of them, 3/4 of them, do their financial transactions with the Amazon and the Googles of the world, right? So हम ये कह सकते हैं हम पाकिस्तान है जी, यहाँ brick and mortar रहेगा, सब कुछ रहेगा, but the reality is that it is going to fundamentally shift. Like an earlier colleague said, if it's not 2 years, it's going to be 4 years or 5 years. But the customer journey, customer engagement, and the customer experience in all our businesses has to fundamentally shift. Pakistan ka, it's again, we talk about the times. What we have, what we lack in giving back to you as a profession, as all the people, all the young people who are coming through, unfortunately, we have not been able to define what good look like for you. We don't have 20 Angros. We don't have 40 FMCGs. We don't have 50 HBLs here. We even don't have the big fours fully here right now. So whatever we have, and I see the potential, the scalability which is coming through from Selanis. That's absolutely brilliant. But trust me, it's not enough. It's not enough. हम अपने आने वाले स्टूडेंट्स के साथ एंड चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स के साथ, आई वुड से इट मच मोर ओपनली, मे बी इट्स बिट कॉन्ट्रोवर्शियल, ज्यादती कर रहे हैं. हमें उनका हॉरिजन बहुत ब्रॉड करना है. द वर्ल्ड हैज मूव्ड मच मच बियॉन्ड, एंड आई से इट एज अ लॉट ऑफ passion and heart for this institute where I have done my degree, and I have not done any other degree in my life. Couple of times I tried other, I failed, but I have, for getting digital, I'll again repeat the point, it's about the mindset. The mindset which people have, and I'll just like to explain a bit of our journey here in the interest of time. Yes, so I started in 18 as quickly as the head of audit, and we did lots of things. We did lots of things here. I started with a team जिसमें हमने we hired scientists and we said we're going to go digital. The biggest problem was, even me being from the profession, I was being questioned. ऐसे नहीं होता सर, ये काम ऐसे नहीं है, ये चीज़ गलत है, ये ऐसे नहीं होगी. The point is, it is about us. We continuously went on with the vision, we convinced them, and there was a question earlier कि हाँ बोर्ड कैसे मानता है. बोर्ड को आप सक्सेस दिखाएंगे, बोर्ड को आप बिजनेस केस दिखाएंगे, आउटपुट्स दिखाएंगे, वो मान जाएगा. Right investments came through, and I was lucky that I was with this great institute. They supported us. In the 3 years journey, we did multiple actions. We did multiple inputs and outputs. And the key takeaway is, it's never going to be standardized. आपको मुसलसल चेंज होना है, आपको मुसलसल रीडिफाइन करना है, गार्बेज भी आएगी, गार्बेज को बेहतर करना है, वैलिडेशंस करनी है, so much to happen. So again, in terms of when I took over, I became the Chief Compliance Officer at the start of the year. And what I'm going through right now is creating a digital strategy for compliance, right? So the digital strategy has to be a strategy of 4 to 5 years, where we end-to-end do whatever is required to cleanse the system, right? It's not easy. I have to again do the same journey which I did in audit for the last 4 or 5 years. And why I believe it will inshallah happen is the fact that I know the first and the most important thing is changing people's mind. Making them believe that you are still part of the solution. As chartered accountants, as MBAs, as any other profession, we have to be, इसको इस तरह समझें कि जब हमें एज एन सीनियर मोस्ट एक्स को हमें 1.5 साल लगा इस चीज़ को ग्रैपल करने के लिए कि ये चेंज है और हम इस चेंज के बारे में जाना कैसे है. इट इज़ नेवर अबाउट, whenever we talk about the language, it's people first, process and then technology. Technology and process will never replace people. But अगर हम चेंज ना हुए और हमने अपनी ट्रेनिंग, अपना करिकुलम और अपनी इनेबलमेंट ना दी और इंडस्ट्री का हैंडशेक ना हुआ इंस्टीट्यूट से, we will be continuously be sitting in a gap situation. And that's my hope and that's my aspiration working through this program, where hopefully working with Khurshid and the council and Tola Saab's leadership, if we can work out in some arrangement, we're more than happy to help the institute and help the country. Because if there is something in it for the country, trust me, my institution will never look back. They would always want to do the right things for Pakistan in terms of whatever it takes. बहुत सी एग्जांपल्स हैं जिसमें हमने बैंक में बहुत सी चेंजेस किए, बट आई थिंक द फोरम इज नॉट फॉर मी टू गो इन डिटेल्स. The most important thing is how you bring about the culture change. Culture change is the vision at the top. It is about execution. It is about learning your lessons, changing the plans, changing the goalposts continuously, having the right mindset, and showing success. If you don't show success, we will all fail collectively. Last week we were in Islamabad. We were representing the banking industry. We were having this discussion with our FETF colleagues who had come in for the evaluation. And this is one very interesting Q&A where they want us and the industry to go towards much better AI-based solutions, and they wanted to know our perspective. So we shared how and in what manner, what timelines we'll be taking those steps. But the world is, the way it has changed, the world it has become dynamic. For our own customer's sake, for our own regulatory sake, for our own survival of the world, I think we have to do things to a much more kosher level than rest of the industry. Rest of the industry outside Pakistan. Because unfortunately we get assessed in a very different lens compared to our counterparts in other countries. We get to ask those questions कि उस मुल्क में तो ये होता है, हम कहते हैं भाई हम लोग हम हैं, and हम पे नज़र करम ज़्यादा है. So I think that's a quick snapshot. I wouldn't take long. Some of my colleagues who have worked, I've worked during my articles days are here in this room. So they know my history. Why I want to make it a bit personal is because आप लोगों के लिए टाइम नहीं है. मेरे पास टाइम था, ठीक है, आपके पास टाइम नहीं है. 2000 में जब मैंने आर्टिकल्स कंप्लीट किया और मैं क्वालिफाई हुआ, so I didn't know how to type, right? I learned typing because I was heading overseas, and over there without doing anything, I would be useless. Right? 2008, while working in Goldman Sachs, I came across the first bot which was being used in the trading floor. So again, and that was also a time when I thought, due to the financial crisis, I'm in the wrong industry. Banking does not exist. It should not exist. So I had that mindset. Jumpstart 2018 when I joined HBL, right? Lots of naysayers, lots of people who said कि ये लड़का आया है, young है, इसको पता नहीं है पाकिस्तान का, वहाँ पे तो bots बेच दिए हैं इसने, यहाँ पे नहीं कर पाएगा. And Alhamdulillah, 3 years post that time, we achieved a lot of success with the support of the management, with the senior most board and president's leadership. 2021, I'm in compliance. My target is 2025. I want to create hyper compliance, which is fully digitalized. But you guys don't have this time luxury, right? This was an evolution. What I'm here is to offer through the right ICAP platform is whatever mentorship we can lend you to support you and understand कि करना क्या है, जाना कैसे है. So it is not going to be one-way traffic. It's a two-way street. आप लोगों का ही काम है, but आपको समझाने में I think there is a big role which industry, me, along with lots of people who are here, which have talked about, I think we have got a big role to play. And I thank you, ICAP, once more for giving me the opportunity to be here. Thank you very much.